Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Now we sound like we're in an elementary school. Welcome. I am Dr. Ingrid Medlock, the Chief of Staff and Community Engagement, and I am the Interim Chief Communications Officer with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. Welcome to all of you. I want to say a very special thank you to Principal Shana Ray. What a phenomenal welcome and crown experience we have had. From the moment I got out of the car till I walked into this space, it has been a wonderful experience, and I think everyone would agree. So thank you so much for hosting us today. We are excited to share some wonderful news with all of you. I want to say a very special thank you to all of our special guests and all of our elected officials. And without further ado, are we ready? We're ready. Dr. Crystal Hill, our superintendent, will begin.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Principal Ray, for hosting us this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today to celebrate the 2024-25 academic data for Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. Before we get started, I would like to recognize our Board of Education, and we have 4 members who are with us today. If you will please stand to be recognized. First, we have our Board Chair, Stephanie Sneed. Vice Chair, Gregory D. Rankin. Board Member, Dr. Monty Witherspoon Brown. Board Member, Lisa Klein. And Board Member, Melissa Easley. Next, I would like to recognize our Mecklenburg County Board of County Commissioner Chair, Commissioner and Chair Mark Jarrell. Please stand to be recognized. Thank you so much for being here today and for your continued support. Well, it is so hard for me to contain my excitement today. Today, we are so proud to share the significant milestones of Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools and our journey of educational excellence without exception. We have some truly historic and phenomenal data to share with you. This data not only highlights the remarkable achievements of our students, but it underscores the Herculean efforts of our principals, teachers, support staff, families, and dedicated partners in fostering an environment of excellence and support. These outcomes reflect the hard work, dedication, and resilience of our students, our educators, and our community. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools' commitment to academic excellence remains steadfast, and this data serves as a testament to our mission. Together, we faced many challenges, but today we are seeing the fruits of our labor shining brightly, illuminating a path toward the endless possibilities that await our students. As we unveil this remarkable data, we will also discuss the innovative strategies and programs that have propelled our students forward, how these strategies align with our district's 5-year strategic plan, and what steps we will take to continue to lift even more students to new heights of academic achievement. You will also hear from 6 of our outstanding principals whose schools have earned exceptional results. They each have a unique story to share about their students and their school's journey to excellence. In addition to our staff, students, and families, I also want to thank our many community partners for their unwavering support as we work together to ensure that every student in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools is prepared for their next step in life. Your partnership has been invaluable in helping us grow and improve. We share this incredible success with all of you. Thank you once again for being here, and now on to the data. First, we will hear from Beth Thompson, Chief of Strategy and Innovation.
Good afternoon. I'm going to start by making sure everybody knows how to access the full data set we'll be looking at today and then some, and the definitions of any acronyms that we're going to be using. Located on the screen, also located in your handout, there are 2 QR codes for your use. The first QR code on the left-hand side has a direct link to the state website where you can find information for all districts all across the state. On the right-hand side, you'll see the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools website, this presentation, and additional data that we have available for you at all times. Each year, we receive a large amount of data from the state of North Carolina telling us about the academic achievement of our students for the previous school year. This data is all a part of the North Carolina accountability model. It's our goal each and every year to communicate results to our stakeholders with transparency, focus, and intentionality, and to not have you here for 2 or 3 hours. We have done that again, made every effort to do that again here today. Our focus for this presentation will be on the state accountability model, but there's additional data in the appendix of this presentation. We'll take any questions that you may have at the end of our presentation today, and for any additional inquiries for the media, please reach out to us using media@cms.k12.nc.us. As a reminder, the state provides results using 4 descriptors: not proficient, level 3, level 4, and level 5. If a student achieves a level 3 on a state assessment, the student is considered grade level proficient. Grade level proficient means just what it says. A student has sufficiently mastered grade level skills and is ready for the next grade level. If a student achieves a level 4 or a 5 on a state assessment, the student is considered college or career ready. The state uses grade level proficiency, that's a level 3, 4, or 5, to determine school performance grades in the state accountability model. Therefore, our presentation will focus on those metrics today. But college and career readiness data, including performance by student racial, ethnic, specialized service, and economically disadvantaged student groups, is transparently available in this appendix of this presentation, organized by grade level and content area. A few other acronyms you'll see in our presentation today are listed on this slide. More information about any of these categories can be found on our state website. So let's dig in. Let's look at 24-25 academic performance of students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools within the North Carolina State Accountability Model. School performance grades are determined by a combination of metrics, all determined by the state of North Carolina. On the left, you see that for elementary and middle schools, the metrics are reading, math, math 1, and science grades 5 and 8 grade level proficiency scores, the progress of English language learners, and student academic growth in reading, math, and science. On the right, you see that for high schools, the metrics are different. They include English 2, math, and biology grade level proficiency scores, graduation rate, student performance of 17 or higher on the ACT or silver on the ACT work keys, the rigor of student math courses in which students are enrolled, the progress of English language learners, and student academic growth in reading, math, and science. For all schools, a participation rate of a minimum of 95% of students assessed is expected. Participation rates factor into the school's school performance grade. In Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, we have goals and guardrails. Those take all of the state accountability model data and provide a more narrow focus on our district's areas for continued improvement as a part of our 5-year strategic plan. These areas of focus align to our community's vision and values. Tune in to our Board of Education meetings for end-of-year goal reports. Our first end-of-year performance on Goal 1, K2 literacy, took place on Tuesday, August the 26th, and these reports will continue by goal through November, and then again throughout the year. We'll look briefly at how information is presented to you today is organized, and I'll do that as part what's included in this presentation and then also including what's in the appendix. Within the presentation, I'm going to discuss overarching state performance measures. These are often the headlines, and I want to be sure that we start out with those. I'll then discuss additional school performance measures required by the state of North Carolina by subject and grade level. Deputy Superintendent Dr. Melissa Balknight will share our areas of focus in response to this data and alignment with our goals for the 25-26 school year. And we've saved the best for last, time for our brilliant, capable, wise, and the hardest working people I know, an amazing panel of principals who will share what their schools did last year that made such a difference and what they're planning to do to grow that success even further this year. In the appendix, there's additional data located here, and again, all of this is already on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools website. So here we go. We'll start with our headline results. And what better way to start than this? In the 24-25 school year, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools outperformed North Carolina in overall grade level proficiency and saw significant increases in student grade level proficiency in both reading and math, composite increases of 5.2% in reading, grades 3-8, 4.6% in math, and 8.2% increase in math 3. And by the way, that's already the headline for the Charlotte Observer today. Of the 175 schools that receive a growth score and a school performance grade, 156, that's 89.1% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools met or exceeded growth last year. This is the highest number and percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. And of course, a significant increase over the 146 schools that met or exceeded growth last year. Of the 150 schools, 6 schools meeting or exceeding growth, 115, that's 65.7%, exceeded growth last year. This is also the highest number and percent of schools exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. And it's an increase of 52 more schools exceeding growth than the 63 schools that had exceeded growth in the 23-24 school year. And when we compare our district's performance to the performance of every other school district in North Carolina, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools ranked 10, up from 20 last year, out of 115 school districts in North Carolina for percentage of schools meeting or exceeding growth. And I'll say, of that top 10, we are by far the largest school district that has these results. In fact, you could take every one of the other 9 districts, add all of their schools together, and we might still be bigger. 123, that's 70% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, earned a school performance grade of an A, B, or C, an increase of 21 schools from the 23-24 school year, and the largest single-year increase in schools with A, B, or C performance grade in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. 55 schools, that's 31.9%, improved their school letter grades from 23-24 to 24-25. And 31 schools no longer have a state low performing designation, the largest single-year reduction in the number of schools with a state low performing designation in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. History. And if there was a common word across every single one of those lines, it was history, history, history. Let me stamp it. Across proficiency, across growth, across school performance grade, and across low-performing designation, as Dr. Hill likes to say, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools beat the GPS and broke the odds and withstood the odds to be able to have history-making performance across the board last year. So let's look at each part of that accountability model, because while those are the headlines, you're going to see, I would call it the proof is in the pudding. Let's look at it really carefully now. We'll start with reading grades 3 through 8. 52.7% of students in grades 3 through 8 reached grade level proficiency in reading during the 24-25 school year. That's an increase of 5.2 percentage points over the previous year. When we break that down by grade level, you see that increases were across the board with the exception of third grade, with notable increases in grades 4, 6, and 7. Grades 4 through 8 increased by an average of 6.5% in reading over the previous year. The state Read to Achieve law provides third grade students with more than one opportunity to demonstrate reading proficiency beyond the reading into grade assessment. However, all opportunities require that a student show grade level reading proficiency based on an equivalent Lexile ability. A total of 79.3%, that's 8,955 out of our 11,295 Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools third grade students demonstrated reading proficiency using state standards last school year. Looking back at performance dating back to 2016-2017, noting that school years impacted by the pandemic, as well as when a new reading assessment was administered, you can see that highlighted in dark blue, that's a change that causes us to no longer be able to compare any future results to past results because the assessment is now a new assessment. You see that from 21-22 to 24-25, the years we can compare, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools has increased grade level proficiency in reading grades 3-8 by a total of 8.7%. That is larger than the overall state's increase over the last 4 years of 6.9%. And in the state of North Carolina, reading grades 3-8 grade level proficiency was 52.5%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools reading grades 3-8 performance was 52.7%. Therefore, our district grades 3-8 grade level proficiency was above the performance of the state, and above the performance of 2 of our 3 comparable counties. And we celebrate for every single one of these areas schools that have done an incredible job. The schools shown here, their gains in reading achievement, which is one of our goals for our Board of Education that we progress monitor throughout the year, far exceeded average expectations for what growth should be in 1 year. You can see those schools and their achievement gains represented here. Now let's look at high school English 2 course performance. 59.2% of students in English 2 were grade level proficient during the 24-25 school year. That's an increase of 0.6% over the 23-24 school year. Again, looking longitudinally, and again noting that school years impacted by the pandemic as well as a new reading assessment cause us to no longer be able to compare future results to previous ones. You see that from 21-22 through 24-25, the years we can compare, grade level proficiency in English 2 has overall decreased by 1.1%. In the state of North Carolina, English 2 grade level proficiency was 59.4%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, English 2 proficiency was 59.2%. Our district's proficiency slightly below the performance of the entire state, but above the performance of 2 of our 3 comparable counties. And we celebrate alongside and are learning from the high schools shown here. Their gains in English 2 reading achievement last year are commendable. Now let's move to math, grades 3 through 8. 59.2% of students in grades 3-8 reached grade level proficiency in math during the 24-25 school year. That's an increase of 4.6% over the 23-24 school year. When we break that down by grade level, you see increases in grade level proficiency in every single grade level, with notable increases in grades 3, 4, and 6. Looking at historical data, you see that since 21-22, we've increased grade level proficiency in grades 3-8 math by a total of 19.4%. That is larger than the overall state's increase over the last 4 years of 16.7%. In the state of North Carolina, math grades 3-8 grade level proficiency was 56.7%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools' math grade level proficiency was 59.2%. Our district's math grades 3-8 proficiency was above the entire state and above the performance of two of our three comparable counties. You'll notice that that increase of 4.6% was significantly larger than the state's increase last year and the increase of our comparable counties. And look here, we celebrate alongside these schools who had incredible gains. Look at Druid Hills Academy, 24.2, Ashley Park, 19.7. I could keep going. Significant gains in math grade level proficiency in grades 3-8 last year. We'll now look at high school math 1. 29% of students in the high school math 1 course reached grade level proficiency. This is a decrease slight of 0.5% over the 23-24 school year. It should be noted that the state model, these results, do not take in consideration students who take math 1 in middle school. Many of our Charlotte-Mecklenburg School students do take math 1 in middle school. I'll share that data momentarily. When you look historically at our data, you can see that we've increased grade level proficiency in high school math 1 by a total of 9.5% over the last 4 years. That's slightly larger than the overall state's increase of 9.4% over the last 4 years. And in comparison to North Carolina grade level proficiency in math 1 was 34.5%, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools 29%, below the performance of the entire state, but above the performance of 2 of 3 comparable counties. Interestingly, it should also be noted that there were decreases in high school math 1 in the overall state metric, see the parentheses right below there, as well as in each of our comparison counties in the 24-25 school year. And we have some amazing schools that made it happen, schools both in grade level proficiency and college and career readiness who had significant gains in math 1 last year. Not a part of the state accountability model, but to provide context, again, to make sure everyone knows who takes math 1 and that the state accountability model is only one portion of that group of students. Our middle school students taking math 1, over 95% of students taking the high school math 1 course in middle school reached grade level proficiency. That's an increase of 3.6% over the 23-24 school year. In order to not jeopardize student identifiable information, we're not permitted to give the exact number when it's over 95 or under 5%. That's why you see that, that greater than sign there. And when we put that together, when we look at our math 1 students across high school, middle school, and all together, which is our goal that we're working toward, you'll notice that 49.9% of students taking math 1 were grade level proficient in the 24-25 school year. Back to the state accountability model, we'll now look at math 3. 66.6% of students in the high school math 3 course reached grade level proficiency last year. This is a substantial increase of 8.2% over the 23-24 school year. Looking historically, you'll see that since 21-22, we have increased grade level proficiency in high school math 3 by a total of 15.3%. That's less than the overall state's increase of 21.8% over the last 4 years. In the state of North Carolina, math 3 grade level proficiency was 66.4%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools high school math 3 performance was 66.6%, above the entire state average and above the performance of 2 of 3 comparable counties. And look again at the incredible gains that took place across our high schools throughout Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, starting off with West Meck High School with gains of 25.6 in grade level proficiency, Maracas Middle College High, Olympic, Northwest School of the Arts, Philip O'Berry, who we'll hear from in just a few minutes, fantastic gains as proof points of possibility across our county. Now let's look at grades 5 and 8 science. 61.7% of students in science grades 5 and 8 combined reached grade level proficiency during the 24-25 school year. This is a decrease of 4.1% over 23-24, but it should be noted something very important. This was our first year, 24-25, of a new renormed assessment in science across every LEA or school system in the state. A dip in achievement is common. Sometimes it's a plummet in achievement that takes place when we renorm assessments. We are really proud that we did not dip any further than that, and are really proud of the efforts of our school related to that. When we break that down by grade level, you see decreases in grade level proficiency in both 5 and 8. But when you look historically, you'll note that we've increased grade level proficiency in science over the last 4 years by 3%. Again, we would not advise comparing last year's performance to previous, but when we look longitudinally, that's a question that's often asked. We want to make sure that that is available to you. In the state of North Carolina, science grades 5-8, grade level proficiency was 61%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools grades 5-8 proficiency was 61.7%, above the performance of the entire state, even in a year when we renormed the assessment, and above the performance of 2 of our 3 comparable counties. And we celebrate alongside and are learning from schools shown here. Their gains in science achievement last year are indeed commendable. Finally, let's look at biology grade level proficiency, our last subject area in the area of grade level proficiency. 48.6% of students in biology reached grade level proficiency. This is a decrease of 2.8%. And again, this was a renormed new state assessment last year. Looking historically, we have increased grade level proficiency in biology by 3.5% over the last 4 years. Again, comparison is not advised by the state. That's larger than the overall state's increase of 2.7% over the last 4 years. In the state of North Carolina, biology grade level proficiency was 48.3%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools was 48.6%, above the performance of the entire state, and equal to the performance in above the performance in 2 of our 3 comparable counties. And again, we celebrate and are learning from the schools shown here for their incredible achievement in the area of biology last year. We're now going to move to our next area for both elementary, middle, and high schools in this school performance grade model, and that's school growth. Each year, the state of North Carolina reports on how much students grew in their learning in reading, math, and science. Growth is reported by district and by school and is a part of each school's school performance grade. The state has 3 categories for growth: did not meet, met, or exceeded. Of the 175 schools that received a growth score in a school performance grade, 156, that's 89.1% of our schools, met or exceeded growth. Again, an increase of 5.7% from the previous school year. The proof is in the pudding, y'all. It's the highest number and percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools history, and 115 or 66% exceeded growth in 24-25. 41 schools or 23% met growth, and 19 schools, 11%, did not meet growth. When we first looked at this data, I won't forget it. You never know exactly when the data is going to drop. It was a Friday afternoon. We were on a Teams call with assistant superintendents. Dr. Balknight, you remember this? And I don't know what we were working on, something with back to school, and we got notification that the data dropped. When we looked at it for the first time, we said, could this be true? Well, let me show you what we did. We looked at the big old table with the font size that's just a teeny bit too small for the slide, but I'm going to show you nonetheless. There are 3 key things that I want to draw out from this data. The first, the number of schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg and the number of schools with EVOS growth, bearing in mind that some of our schools are on an alternate accountability model or don't have enough students to calculate growth. So we have more schools than 175. Not all schools have a growth score. But the number of schools has grown substantially over the last 12 years. Do you see that? increasing from 156 schools back in 2013-2014 to 175 schools. We are a thriving school district who is continuing to grow. You with me? Next, the percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth in 24-25 was the highest in district history. The 12 years of district history is shown here. Conversely, the number and percent of schools not meeting growth in 24-25 was the lowest in district history. And I want to walk you through the comparison between exceeding and meeting. Only 4 times in the last 12 years has the number of schools exceeding growth been higher than the number of schools meeting growth. Those years are 2013-14, 2014-15, 2015-16, 21-22, and now 24-25. But in those 4 years, never has the gap between the number of schools exceeding versus meeting growth been as high as it was last year. Specifically, with 74 more schools exceeding growth than meeting growth. We said it at this media briefing last year. We said we would significantly accelerate student learning in the 24-25 school year. I think we did just that. I considered apologizing for the font on this slide, but I'm not. I'm going to celebrate it because shown here are the 115 schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools that exceeded growth in the 24-25 school year, and their names deserve to be seen. Of these schools, 25 schools have exceeded growth for 2 consecutive years, shown here with 2 asterisks. 10 have exceeded growth for 3 consecutive years, shown here with 3 asterisks, and 15 schools have exceeded growth for 4 consecutive years, again shown here with 4 asterisks, and all of that is located on your handout as well. The schools on this list are from all over Charlotte, across our neighborhoods and communities. They are proof points of possibility and places with practices we want to replicate in every single Charlotte-Mecklenburg school. This is just the continuous improvement work we'll continue to do this year. And most of the 115 schools that exceeded growth last year didn't just barely exceed growth. Usually when we're looking for a growth index, what growth index are we looking for exceeding growth? I love it. 2, that's exactly right. Usually when a school gets a growth index of 2, it's going to exceed growth. We had 63 schools exceed growth with a growth index of 4.0 or higher. These are ranked as high as an index of 11.33 all the way to 4.07, and I could fill up 2 more slides with schools and their growth indices for the previous school year. That is to be commended. Give them a round of applause. The Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, requires each state to provide an annual assessment of English language proficiency to all students identified as English language learners. This is called English Learner Progress and is a part of every school's school performance grade. One of the metrics that the state reports on related to the performance of English language learners is the total progress rate. The total progress rate is the percent of English language learners who met their annual progress rate, in addition to the percent of English language learners who exited English language learner status altogether. In other words, they now have sufficient command of the English language to no longer need additional supports in acquiring the English language. In the 24-25 school year, 25.2% of English language learners met annual progress in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. In addition to that 25.2%, 15% exited status altogether. So the sum of those 2 numbers gives us our total progress rate of 40.2% for the 24-25 school year. That's an increase of 8.6 over the 23-24 school year. When we compare that to North Carolina and our other districts, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools outperformed both the state and all of our comparable North Carolina districts in the area of English learner progress with that rate of 40.2%. An effort to be commended for sure. And the schools listed within this slide achieved the highest percentage of L total progress rate using the total progress rate metric during the 24-25 school year. Congratulations to each school listed here. We'll now look at ACT and ACT work keys. Last year, this is a high school state accountability metric. Last year, 53% of students achieved a score of at least 17 or higher on the ACT assessment. This is an increase of 10% from the 23-24 school year, but the state advises that prior rate should not be compared because the state changed it from 19 to 17 in alignment with the changes that have taken place in the UNC system. I just want to add to that when the UNC system changes the minimum requirement for ACT, state law requires that the state accountability system change as well. That change went into effect for juniors who were in high school last year. In the state of North Carolina, ACT proficiency performance was 53.8%. ACT performance in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools was 53%. When we look at the ACT work keys, last year 61.2% of students scored at the silver level or higher on the ACT work keys assessment. This is an increase of 0.4% from 23-24. And you'll note here, the state of North Carolina ACT work keys proficiency was 59.8%, but Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools ACT work keys proficiency was 61.2%. We'll now look at graduation rate. The four-year cohort graduation rate for students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools for the 24-25 school year is 84.3%. This was a slight decrease of 0.1 from the 23-24 school year. The state graduation rate was 87.7%. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools graduation rate was below the performance of the state and comparable counties. And you'll see much conversation around graduation rate taking place both here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, but also across the state, as it's a part of our state strategic plan with goals centered around graduation rate across the entire state of North Carolina. We celebrate these high schools with increases in graduation rate for the 24-25 school year. Job well done. And congratulations to these high schools for achieving a graduation rate of 90% or higher in the 24-25 school year. Last but certainly not least, thanks for hanging with me. We're going to look at school performance grade and associated state designations. Since 2013-2014, school performance data have been used to assign letter grades to North Carolina public schools as required by North Carolina general statute. The grades are based on each school's achievement score weighted at 80% and each school's growth weighted at 20%. The total school performance score is converted to a 100-point scale and then used to determine a school performance grade of an A, B, C, D, or F. In the 24-25 school year, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools increased the number and percent of schools earning an A, B, or C designation. 70% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools received a school performance grade of an A, B, or C, an increase of 11.7% from 23-24. Conversely, 30% received a letter grade of D or F, a decrease of 11.7%, and 55 schools improved their school performance grade from the 23-24 to 24-25 school year. Let me show you how this looks. Seen visually, while between 21-22 and 23-24, there were what I would call small incremental improvements in the number of schools with a school performance grade of an A, B, or C. In 24-25, there was dramatic improvement, an increase from 59% of schools with a school performance grade of an A, B, or C to 70% of schools with a school performance grade of an A, B, or C in just 1 year. And when you break that, oh yeah, go ahead and clap. And when you break that down by school performance grade, you see that 9 additional schools now have a school performance grade of an A. 4 additional schools now have a school performance grade of a B. 8 additional schools have a school performance grade of a C. 11 fewer schools had a school performance grade of a D, and 9 fewer schools have a school performance grade of an F, an overall decrease in the number of schools with a school performance grade of an F from 27 in 21-22 to how many in 24-25? We celebrate the tremendous progress that's being made. And you know how many are going to have an F this time next year? Thank you. We celebrate these 55 schools for improving their school performance grade in 24-25, and we wanted to make sure we called out every single one of them. And when North Carolina looks at the combination of the measures we've just reviewed, school growth and school performance grades, and sees that schools aren't growing students at the accelerated rate needed to make significant enough increase in proficiency, students receive a designation called low performing. In 24-25, there were 32 schools with the state low performing designation, representing 18.3% of all Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. This is a dramatic decrease in the total number of schools with that low performing designation, 24 fewer schools to be exact. On the table on the right-hand side, you see the screen, you see that at the end of 23-24, 19 schools were removed from the state low performing list, but 17 were added. And we said this time last year that we learned that if we focus all of our support only on schools with the low performing designation, we run the risk of neglecting the needed support that will cause other schools to receive that designation for the upcoming school year. So we said in 24-25, we've got to monitor progress at every school. Our service delivery model and organizational structure has to support our students and our staff at every school. And we want to see proficiency increase across every school. This was building these management routines and monitoring processes was a major focus in our district annual plan last year to address this trend. And look what happened. In 24-25, 31 schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg no longer have that designation of low performing, and a smaller number, 7, were added to the list of schools with the low performing designation. Let's be clear, there's still room for improvement. We don't want any schools to have a low performing designation, but what took place in 24-25, as Dr. Hill says, beat the GPS and shows great promise in achieving that desired target. Now that we've done a review of our 24-25 data, we want to talk about what we'll be doing in the 25-26 school year and beyond. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Dr. Melissa Balknight, Deputy Superintendent for Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, to talk about what we're currently doing this school year in response to what you've just seen and what we've learned in 24-25.
Thank you, Chief Thompson. She is extremely excited, so I hope I can keep that momentum up. Can we take just another moment to stop and celebrate the gains we have seen across all 4 of our annual goals? The work we did in 24-25 is evident in the data on the screen and what was just presented. While exciting and uplifting, the work doesn't stop here. In fact, our teams have been working all summer to make sure that the strategies used to make these monumental gains are continued and expanded, so to further our impact on our students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. I'm pleased today to share a glimpse of a few new approaches we're implementing in the 25-26 school year. As always, we would like to start with our district placemat. This visual represents our core business in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. Our primary work can be found within each of our mission and vision, our district goals, our core beliefs, or our 4 pillars of excellence seen on the screen. Our commitment is to deliver excellence without exception for each student within Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. We are excited to continue implementing the strategies that helped us have an impact last year, and we are just as excited to implement some new strategies to continue that momentum. We are at this very moment doing the things we said we were going to do this year for our 25-26 annual plan. The actions in this plan are organized around 4 pillars of excellence. While the strategies in the academic pillar are most closely aligned with our goals, the strategies in the other 3 pillars, people, operations, and engagement, are critical to the achievement of the goals. Every district department has actions and targets for their schools and this school year. Every school also has targets and actions, but there are a few areas of focus for this school year that we feel are real game changers in ensuring we meet our goal targets for this year. I'm excited to share a few of those with you. Today, I will outline a few of our strategies to continue increasing academic achievement during the 25-26 school year. The 8 bricks, as we love to call them, outlined on the screen represent the primary change agents we believe impact student success at each school. Today, I would like to emphasize 3 of our bricks that are at the heart of our work: high-quality teachers, strong core instruction, and active student and family engagement. So we didn't waste any time. We started this summer in July. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools proudly launched Camp CMS 2025, a dynamic, tuition-free summer learning experience designed to promote academic growth for students and professional development for educators. Serving rising kindergarten through 12th grade students, the program offered 3 key components: academic enrichment, credit recovery, and educator development. For academic enrichment, elementary and middle school students engaged in interactive, rigorous instruction aligned with the 25-26 standards. This early exposure to upcoming grade level content ensured students were well prepared for the next school year. While K-8 students explored future learning, high school students focused on staying on track toward graduation through credit recovery. Critical end-of-course subjects including Math 1, English 2, English 3, and Biology were delivered in person, emphasizing mastery of essential standards. Non-EOC courses were completed virtually, providing flexible options for families. Camp CMS also expanded its impact through a unique educator development model. Teachers participated in job-embedded professional development, co-teaching opportunities, and live coaching sessions with district leaders. Professional learning communities were formed both at individual schools and across Camp CMS sites. This enabled educators to collaborate on grade and content-specific strategies that elevate instructional practice. Camp CMS is more than just a summer initiative. It represents CMS' unwavering commitment to academic excellence, educator empowerment, and student success year-round. A big part of what we do is regularly monitoring whether or not what we're doing is working for all of our staff and students. As a part of our continuous improvement model, we intentionally schedule time to stop, look at data and the student experience, and solve for any problems being experienced so that we can make any improvement along the way needed. At the district level, we utilize these 6-week continuous improvement cycles to monitor and advance our teaching and learning strategies. These cycles involve setting clear goals, implementing targeted actions, collecting data, and adjusting practices as needed. This structured approach ensures that our efforts remain aligned with student needs and district priorities, leading to sustained growth and improved academic outcomes. Over the summer, district leaders have collaborated across teams to ensure that we are prepared to deliver on systems and structures within our service delivery model that provide real-time supports across district grade bands. District leaders have set the foundation for ongoing training for those to work most closely with classroom teachers. Our specialists and master teachers play a vital role in supporting high-quality instruction across schools. They provide differentiated coaching, model effective teaching practices, and support data-driven instruction. Their expertise helps teachers refine their skills and ensures that instruction is consistently met with high standards, ultimately benefiting student learning. This year, we are continuing to calibrate the skills across district teams to ensure everyone knows what works for students and to get support to schools faster and more efficiently than ever before. In addition to making sure teachers have pro-social environments for their own continuous learning and teaching, we also know that attracting and recruiting talented teachers is critical. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools is proud to provide teachers with comprehensive onboarding, district provision resources, and ongoing professional learning opportunities that support both teachers and students. Our goal is to ensure that all teachers are immersed in our district resources and expectations and supported from day to day, setting them up for success and improving retention. New this year, each school will include a retention development plan in its school improvement plan to ensure schools have the resources and tools needed to develop and empower teachers. Both those who are new to the district and those who have been with us for years will utilize this. Another strategy we use in Charlotte is our system of core action walkthroughs. Our core action walkthroughs provide schools with feedback and coaching around the implementation of district expectations that ensure schools and students receive a high-quality core academic experience across all 185 schools. Our schools receive core action walkthroughs that support continuous improvement as well as calibration across the district. Within the service delivery model, school district leaders are poised to be in schools, leaning into regular and rigorous data meetings, leading small group instruction, and providing instructional coaching and professional development on a regular basis. This proactive approach allows administrators and instructional leaders to observe instructional practices, provide immediate feedback, and identify areas for further support. These walkthroughs and our presence in schools help to maintain high instruction quality district-wide. Student engagement is another critical piece of upholding high-quality instruction, which ensures students are engaged in their school community. Our work with Capturing Kids' Hearts continues this year, providing staff and students with tools that help them stay engaged within a quality, healthy, pro-social learning environment. These protocols ensure students receive the support they need to overcome barriers and stay engaged by fostering strong connections with trusted staff members. New this year is our district-wide off and away strategy for personal technology devices during instructional time. This intentional approach ensures that when students are in attendance at school, we are maximizing their opportunities for engagement in the learning environment. Our approach for supporting student attendance is aligned to the MTSS framework, which provides varying levels of intervention to our students. We want students engaged in school, and we want to provide them with an experience that prepares them for success after high school. Success in Charlotte-Mecklenburg means that students graduate enrolled, enlisted, or employed. Our community needs this. Supporting their engagement is just the beginning. While we focus on student engagement in school, maintaining strong family engagement is equally important. Our family engagement portal continues to keep families informed and involved. This year, we have continued and even expanded the resources available to families on our portal. Our family engagement sessions will change topics based on feedback from families for every session. We continue to increase the number of grade level and content areas with differentiated resources to use at home. We recognize that parents are their child's first teacher. To support this, we are further developing resources that families can use at home, aligned with district standards and assessments. These resources will empower families to reinforce learning strategies and help their children succeed beyond the classroom. In September, we are excited to launch a new Superintendent Speaks series to provide an opportunity for Superintendent Hill to continue her intentional connections with family members. We cannot do this without parents. We appreciate their tireless advocacy and support of students and school communities. At this time, I would like to begin to introduce our principals. So I'd like to transition to hearing directly from our fabulous Spotlight principals. These leaders led the way in 24-25, improving both student achievement and the student experience at their schools. Their insights and success stories will help us learn best practices we can replicate district-wide. Principal Shanna Ray is starting her third year as principal at University Park and 7th year as a principal in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. During her leadership the last 2 years, University Park has exceeded growth each year, and the school's proficiency score has increased from a composite score of 34, get this, to 63 in just 2 years. All while also, so this happened while she was transitioning the school to a full elementary arts magnet school. So please come back to visit and see the great things happening here. Along with other school-based improvement efforts, Principal Wade can speak to the use of data to drive instructional decisions, using real-time data to form small groups for student learning. Her school has a mindset of having all hands on deck, and every adult works with students as they need to. Let's give her another round of applause. Principal Bobby French is starting his 7th year as principal at Pineville Elementary. During his leadership at Pineville Elementary, Pineville has increased a school letter grade from a C to a B, and that is not an easy feat. Let's give him a round of applause for that. And how did he do it? He exceeded growth for 3 consecutive years. This past year, with a school growth index of 4.07, along with other school-based improvement efforts, Principal French can speak to utilization of strong data-driven practices to ensure all students receive access to grade-level instruction with intentional just-in-time supports. He has led the Pineville team in the execution of key strategies, including targeted small group instruction, student discourse, and academic monitoring. Let's give Principal French another round of applause. Principal Latresha Wilson is entering her 3rd year as principal at Tuckasegee Elementary. During the first year of her principalship, Principal Wilson was able to take the school performance grade increase from a D to a C. Let's give her a round of applause for that. And in her 2nd year, in 24-25, the school performance grade has increased yet again to a letter grade of a B, with a school index of 10.26. Amazing. Ranking in the top 5 in growth across all schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, along with other school-based improvement efforts, Principal Wilson can speak to the power of aligned leadership, data-driven instruction, and deeply rooted culture of trust and high expectations. She has led the school in building highly effective professional learning communities that engage in regular cycles of data and student work analysis, developing instructional action plans, and consistently monitoring and responding to student progress. And this is her 3rd year as a principal. Let's give her a round of applause. Principal Sarah Lang is entering her 5th year as principal at Charlotte East Language Academy. In the 24-25 school year, Charlotte East improved its school performance grade, also exceeding growth with an incredible school growth index of 7.24. Amazing. Along with other school-based improvement efforts, Principal Lane can speak to outcomes by strategically using data to set goals and drive instructional impact, embedding the belief that every child must grow more in a year, regardless of prior performance. She has also prioritized recruiting and retaining excellent teachers and leaders through our ongoing coaching, professional development, and positive culture building strategies. Let's give her another round of applause. Principal Lorinda Garvin is entering her 4th year as principal at Eastway Middle School after successfully serving as principal at Idlewild Elementary School for 8 years. In her last 3 years, Eastway has increased a school letter grade, exceeding growth for 2 of the last 3 years, with this year's school growth index being 2.72. This means that Eastway Middle no longer has a low performance designation for the 2nd consecutive year in a row. Along with other school-based improvement efforts, Principal Garvin can speak to the effectiveness of well-planned, data-driven small group instruction. By strategically utilizing EVOS data, she successfully enhanced student academic achievement. Let's give her another round of applause. Principal Tanya Branham is entering her 4th year as principal at Philip O'Berry Academy of Technology after successfully serving as principal at Mount Island Lake Academy for 6 years. Last year, Philip O'Berry maintained a school letter grade of a B, and exceeded growth with a school growth index of 3.76. What's more, Philip O'Berry, wait for it, has a graduation rate of 97.7%. Along with other school-based improvement efforts, Principal Branham can speak specifically to data systems and how to build a sense of community to monitor and make adjustments when needed to ensure students are successfully academically ready and graduate on time, enrolled, enlisted, or employed. I will now turn it over to Principal Ray.
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it back to you. Thank you for your dedicated leadership, Dr. Hill, Dr. Baltnight, Dr. Medlock, Ms. Beth Thompson. We would not have been able to do any of the work without your strong leadership. So thank you for clearing the path for us. Along with endless possibilities, we are going the extra degree in Performance E, where at University Park Creative Arts, our learners are rising stars soaring towards success. Good afternoon. My name is Shanna Ray, and I'm the proud principal of University Park Creative Arts. Today, I'm honored to share what has made our school's recent success possible. Why do we perform so well? At UPCA, we believe every child deserves instruction that is intentional and personal. One of the ways we've been able to achieve this is by shifting the way we serve students. Every adult travels to our rising stars instead of our rising stars traveling from place to place. This ensures consistency, maximizes learning time, and allows us to focus directly on what each child needs without wasting time. Teachers, specialists, support staff push into classrooms to meet students where they are. Our most impactful strategies are as follows: consistent monitoring of growth through formative assessments and making quick adjustments. Celebrating progress and achievement to build student confidence. Our most impactful strategy has been the use of subgroup data, where we create small group targeted groups. This allows us to align student work to each child's unique needs. Combined with the arts, creativity, and collaboration, our classrooms are full of engagement and momentum. So how do we keep this momentum going? Looking forward, our plan is to continue to build on this foundation. We will refine how we use data, provide professional learning to strengthen small group and arts integrated instruction, and deepen our partnerships with families and community organizations. This will allow us to keep the momentum moving in the right direction and ensure every child grows academically and socially every day. Dr. Hill and team, thank you for believing in me and in my ability to lead UPCA. Being placed here was a calling that I have accepted, and we have changed trajectories over the last 2 years. Finally, none of this would be possible without our incredible team. I want to thank our assistant principal, Baldwin, for accepting a call to be our AP, our teachers and support staff for their dedication, our rising stars for their resilience and creativity, our families and community partners for their consistent encouragement and support. Beside every effective leader stands other effective leaders. Coach Holman, Coach Witherspoon, Coach Rice, Coach Morrison, and Ms. Hash. I would not be able to sit up here today without your strong instructional knowledge and support. Thank you for reinforcing the instructional expectations I have put in place, for believing in the teachers at UPCA, the children, in my mission and vision, and for making UPCA a premier school. I need to thank my husband too, because he has to put up with all the things when I get home. Together at UPCA, we are proving that when every adult is committed to every child, remarkable things can happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ray, and thank you for allowing us to be here today and seeing your beautiful school and your beautiful children, and the way that they walked in with us today was just lovely. So let's give her one more round of applause. And thank you, Dr. Hill, Dr. Bachnight, Dr. Medlock, Chief Thompson, for this opportunity to be here, and for everyone who is here to watch the great work that we're doing. Pineville is home not only to great data, but also to the most ferocious mascot in CMS. For those that don't know, we are just the proud Pineville Smilers, and I am thankful to lead the school I grew up in, and thrilled to share with you the ways our school community has come together to make it possible. Pineville Elementary School is centered on meeting the needs of all students through the use of data, rigorous instruction, and collaboration of teachers and community. Through this work, we continue to see consistent academic progress and instructional effectiveness. Our school letter grade has improved from a D to a B since 2021, reflecting significant gains in student achievement and instructional quality. We contribute this to 3 key drivers of our success. The first being data-driven instruction. Teachers use real-time data to tailor lessons and interventions. This work includes extended planning opportunities for teachers to review data and plan small group instruction to help students meet those grade level expectations. Our multi-classroom leaders, who I could not do this work without, collaborate with PLCs and grade level teams to analyze subgroup data trends and design meaningful, targeted interventions. This involves individualized student supports that are including strategic scaffolding and targeted resources to meet our diverse learning needs. There's a committed focus on student feedback that should drive student learning. In addition to data-driven instruction, Pineville has a strong collaborative professional culture. Educators learn from one another through peer observations, shared planning, and professional learning communities. Our multi-classroom leaders have built a strong coaching system that embodies the concept that everyone deserves a coach, and every teacher benefits from personalized coaching. We embrace a growth mindset and mirror Dr. Hill when she says we believe in getting 1% better each day. As part of our coaching framework, our MCLs meet with me and every other week for coaching and feedback. It's important for me to stamp that the most important driver of our success in our school is our teachers, and their hard work continues to be fostered through sharing of resources and intentional coaching. Our final lever for impact is our strong community partnerships. This starts with our small town community and its impact. Pineville's close-knit community plays a vital role in supporting both students and staff. When we have an ask, the community responds. From our mayor proclaiming Pineville's Teacher Day to our Pineville Police opening car doors and mentoring students, there are countless examples of how our community continues to show up. There is a shared commitment to meeting students' needs and inspiring endless possibilities for their future. A notable partner in this work is Reed Charlotte. They're such a great thought partner committed to our success, providing professional development for our staff and literacy nights for our parents. They've co-developed a tutoring support for kindergarten students called Queen City Readers, and we continue to find more and more ways to work together. Our PTA is also in this partnership and has continued to recognize our teachers with exceptional and prideful ways. This involves ongoing efforts to uplift and appreciate our teachers, including celebrations of success through shared meals and consistent recognition of individual efforts. They know that research that the #1 way to keep teachers in schools is to value their work. So as I conclude, I have to say thank you to my community that has continued to show a commitment to excellence, a unified vision among our teachers and our families and community partners that our students can exceed expectations and deserve every ounce of us bringing us together. We're all focused on nurturing both academic achievement and the growth of all of our students. And I'm so thankful to our teachers, to our community for striving for this each day, and I'm proud to lead such an amazing school.
Good afternoon. I am the proud principal, Latricia Wilson, the proud principal of Tuckasegee Elementary, a native of Charlotte and a product of Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools. My career began at Tuckasegee Elementary, where I started as a teacher, the same neighborhood I grew up in, where my parents still reside, and where I attend church. So it just isn't a school, it's home for me. And I'm not just educating any child, I'm educating my neighbor's children and the children, the community. I'm giving back to the community that raised and believed in me. So I returned to Tuckasegee as a first-year principal. When I returned to Tuckasegee, we were considered a low-performing school. We were a letter D, and we did not meet growth expectations. So what a challenge for a first-year principal, right? So after the first year, we were removed off the low-performing list. We exceeded growth expectations, and we moved to a level C, a letter C. After that, the following year, which was last year, we exceeded growth expectations again, moved from a C to a level B, and again, exceeded growth expectations. So I give thanks again to my admin team. They are amazing, my admin team and my staff, Ms. McLeod, Ms. Chicarello, these are in my MCLs, my assistant principal, Ms. Nikki Dudley, Ms. Agundapa, Pratt, my magnet coordinator. I thank them because we are a true definition of aligned leadership. We are servant leaders, and we are on the front line for teachers and staff every single day. So I wanted to call them out and thank them. To my amazing staff, they are the say yes if it's best for kids staff. I know they don't say no, they say yes if it's best for kids. So I really appreciate them and my learning community. They support me so much with resources and just motivation. So I wanted to shout them out as well as Dr. Hill, Beth Thompson, Balknight. We're all in this work together. So when I think about what makes Tuckasegee so amazing, I think it starts with the culture. When you walk into the building, you'll see love never fails, and you'll see you belong here. And so it was important for me to target the culture at the school, to just make sure that we were all, as Dr. Hill says, rowing in the same direction, the staff, the students, and the community. We had to make sure that we were rowing in the right direction. I'll talk a little bit about that later. Systems, again, as Dr. Hill says, systems prevent random acts of insanity. So I had to make sure that behaviorally and instructionally we had systems in place. And then instructional practices. We had to make sure that was the key. So we have a culture that's deeply rooted in love, trust, high expectations, and accountability. Coaching caseload is what I leveraged very much. So the coaching caseload, it put together the systems, the instructional practice, and the relationships. So my admin, we all coach teachers. And what we do is we're thought partners in this process, right? We look at student data, we focus from kid to kid behaviorally and instructionally, and that's where our work just really gets granular because we know that coaching is a gift. We have high functioning professional learning communities. That's when teachers get together and they plan. We move from compliance to collaboration, where we're in that work, where again, each teacher has a data tracker. They're tracking kid by kid. We're looking at those trends, and we're looking at subgroups. We're looking at your MLTD, your African American. We're looking at our subgroups kid by kid to make sure that we're giving them what we need, and we're sharing practices at high levels. We give teachers time to model during our professional learning communities because we want to give them feedback, and we want them to build their confidence before they get on the front line with students. So we take time to really dig into the data, model, and look at that student work. We calibrate teachers' expectations, right? What expectation is high for you? We want to make sure that that's high for everyone. So we take that time during our professional learning communities to just really get down. That's where the magic happens. We know that feedback is a gift as well. So when we think about feedback, we want to make sure whatever teachers are teaching students, that we give them specific feedback to make sure that they're meeting that target. And when I think about our school, I think about urgency and agency. Every minute counts. And what we do, we want to make sure that teachers know that it's going to impact students at high levels. So when you walk in the school, you will walk in during morning duty, you'll see staff members flashing sight words, right? At the bathroom, you may see a reading fluency passage on the wall, and students are reading. And then during classes, special area classes where they don't have classes, They're pulling kids along with our counselors and support services. So everybody in the school is playing a vital role as well. And then I think about teacher efficacy and self-efficacy. When I got there and we were low performing, I thought to myself, we have to make sure that kids believed in themselves, that teachers believed in the kids, and that teachers believed in themselves, that I can move these children, right? And I can meet these high goals. So we worked on those types of things as well. So as I end, at Tuckasegee, our mission is not only to change, our mission is not only to shift the narrative, but to cause a revolution that brings about change, not just change for the good, not just change for the better, but change for the best, because better is no longer good enough. So if there's ever a question about why public education, better yet a Title I school, I say why not? Tuckasegee is shattering stereotypes, we are defying expectations, and we are pushing past the possible, where possibilities are truly endless.
Good afternoon. Just wanted to take a moment to thank Dr. Hill and all the district staff that gave me this opportunity to highlight my school. I said it's very easy for me to speak positively about everything that's going on at Charlotte East Language Academy. Charlotte East Language Academy is a Title I dual language Spanish-English immersion magnet that serves grades kindergarten through 8th grade. When I started at the school, we were a letter F grade and on the school low performing list. I'm going to go over a little bit of the data that's occurred over the last 4 years. I started the year the first full year after the pandemic. What a great year to be a first year principal. And so I'll tell a little bit of the story of how far we've come since then. And then it's going to be difficult for me to talk about all the great things, but I will highlight just a few things that I feel like got us there. We started out as, like I said, that letter F grade with only 24% of our students scoring as grade level proficient. We have now increased that by 36 percentage points over those 4 years to 60% grade level proficient. Our college and career readiness has increased 23 percentage points over those 4 years, from 14% to 37% scoring as college and career ready. We also have some extremely strong gains in math over those 4 years, 49 percentage point increase over 4 years, and we teach math entirely in Spanish, and students take the test in English. So that's a pretty remarkable number. We also have had a 30 percentage point growth in ELA over those 4 years, as well as a 22 percentage point increase in science, including a 14 percentage point increase over this past year. So we did do well on science as well. So we're very excited about those gains, and when they asked what we do to make those gains, I said, well, the playbook is already written for us. The district's strategic plan is exactly what we're implementing within our school. Those 4 pillars of academic excellence, people excellence, operational excellence, and engagement excellence are what drive everything that we do in our school building. We have a strategic focus on the use of data to goal set, just like everybody else up here has talked about, and really maximize instruction. I always tell the teachers, you don't have any time to waste for our children on things that they don't need to know or that they already know. So we really use that data to drive down to individual student needs. Then we also even do it at the class level. So if one teacher is more successful in teaching a certain standard, our teachers will share students to help the whole entire school be successful. And then at the school-wide level, we also look at the data. Our leadership team meets and periodically we review the data for hotspots. And we even last year redid our master schedule in the middle of the year to try to make, to reallocate human resources where they were most needed in the building to meet student needs. We embed the mantra that every child must show more than a year's growth regardless of their previous performance. We have achievement gaps to close, and so we don't have the luxury of having children not grow more than a year every year. And then the way that we do this, that people excellence pillar, is what, to me, one of the most important things that we focus on. We really focus on recruitment and retention of excellent teachers and teacher leaders. We have an extremely low teacher turnover rate comparatively, and we use the teacher leader pathways program to reward our best teachers who have that data to show that they have been successful over time. We also include coaching for every teacher and professional development that is fluid based off of teacher needs, and then intentional positive culture building strategies both for teachers and for students. We say we want our school to be a place that students and staff want to come to every day. Finally, our community support. I can't talk about what makes our school successful without talking about our community support. Our community has really bought into our school mission and vision for our students. We have a saying that we're dedicated to changing the course of the river. For those of you who don't know, we're built on the old Eastland Mall property, and we teach all of our teachers that come in about the history of the community. And when we opened our building, we were the only thing that was on that property. And so it was kind of like this big empty lot, and our school was up there on the hill. And there's this National Geographic video about Yellowstone National Park, and these wolves were brought in to help revitalize, to revitalize the park. We are the Charlotte East Language Academy Wolves, and we see ourselves as a beacon in the community, and our community buys into that as well. We have so many strong community partnerships that all we have to do is ask for anything we need, and they're there for us. Our PTA has grown from a small but mighty few in the beginning to a very large group that is willing to do whatever is needed. And our families are just committed so much to our school's mission and believe that our school is going to improve their students' lives. So I'm so thankful for all of the work that they do to support us as well. So as far as the upcoming year, my new theme for the upcoming year, we're knocking on the bee's door. So our new theme is to level up for the upcoming year. We don't have any time to rest on our laurels and bask in this success. We're ready to keep pushing. And we're really going to be teaching students to take more ownership of their own success and realize that what their impact on their success is. And so we're really excited about what we're going to see students be able to do using that new theme of level up for the upcoming year. So that's Charlotte East Language Academy. I would encourage anybody to come out and see us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lorinda Garvin, and I am honored to serve as the principal of Eastway Middle School. As mentioned earlier, I was the proud principal of Idlewild Elementary for 8 years prior to coming to Eastway. And at first, when I was approached about going to middle school, I thought, absolutely not. Why would I ever want to go to middle school? Elementary kids are where my heart is, and I spent almost 20 years with elementary students. But immediately upon entering Eastway, I realized what a very special place it was. And while for decades, Eastway has not had the most promising reputation in the community, and it has historically been a low-performing school, we are changing the narrative. And my mantra is, why not Eastway? Why would you not want your kids to be in a school like ours? So immediately upon getting there, some of the things that we put into place was just making sure that there was engagement and ownership and a strong positive culture for our students and for our staff. So we initiated positive reinforcement strategies and a lot of mentoring and support for students that were based on the data and specific needs of our kids individually, so that they got the support and love and care that they needed from trusting adults. Because if you look at any of the research on adverse childhood experiences, the number one way that you can turn those around and improve lives and really change the trajectory of a child's life forever is through trusted relationships. And so we've worked very hard over the last couple of years to do just that. We've initiated quality social emotional learning lessons where every staff member, myself included, and even our head custodian, is assigned to homerooms, and we all participate daily in supporting the social and emotional needs of our students. We also have a Champion for Kids team where students who maybe display some unwanted behaviors from time to time are paired with someone who is trusting, and they build that relationship to really sit down with students on an individual level and look at all the components that make up that child, from attendance to behavior to academics, and really just to interest in general. And how do we make sure that kids not only want to come to Eastway, but they're thriving there? We have also done a lot of work with student leadership and giving them voice in the things that they do. One of the things that we have is a positive referral form, because I don't believe in just focusing on punitive and negative consequences for behavior, but really highlighting, recognizing, and rewarding the students who come and do the right thing every day, because the vast majority of our kids are doing just that, and they deserve to be honored and recognized. And we communicate that with their families. They spin a prize wheel, and they've even decided what their prizes are. And to be honest, I've gone broke on Starbucks drinks and pizza. So, but it's all worth it. We have the most incredible leadership team ever. They are so brilliant, and any research you do on leadership tells you surround yourself with people smarter than you, and thankfully I've done just that. I have the best, the brightest, the most brilliant leaders in CMS, and they are carrying out the vision and mission of our district and the strategic plan every single day. And it doesn't stop there. Our teachers and our staff are dedicated. They are committed to excellence without exception. Every single day they come into our school, and as disadvantaged as some of our children may be, they come in and they give 150% every day to our kids, to our community, to our families, going above and beyond expectations to make the learning experience not only one that is high quality, but one that makes students want to be a part of the work that's happening. So I cannot say enough great things about the amazing teachers and staff at Eastway. And our families. While 75% of our students are language minority, and you know what the odds and statistics are when you look at a population of students that don't speak English as their first language, many of which are not proficient yet. Some of them, over 100 in fact, are non-English speaking and they are newcomers. But when you look at the families that want their child to have the opportunity to not just learn and grow every day, but to have the endless possibilities that our district is promising them, Eastway is the school where you want to be to see that happen. So I could not be more proud of that. Many of the things that we've put in place in addition to our year one culture building and engagement strategies, starting in year two, we really focused on our instructional planning approach and making sure that every single time our teachers got together in their professional learning communities, it was focused on unpacking standards and looking at and determining what misconceptions might arise prior to instruction, so that we had a plan and we had resources in our tool bag to be able to pull those out when we saw those misconceptions pop up in the moment, so we could address it then and not waiting until there was an assessment to make those adjustments happen. Because believe it or not, it's harder to help a kid unlearn something than it is to help them learn it right the first time. So we've done a lot of work with that, with modeling and opening up our practice so that our teachers are in classrooms conducting learning walks with our leadership team and seeing effective teaching practices in action. We also have a lot of work focused on our practice clinics, where our teachers come together and they practice our expectations, they practice academic strategies and different things like that to make sure that before they get in front of students, they are ready to go and they are able to deliver on that promise of high quality instruction and high expectations with accountability. Every year we also analyze, and honestly all year long analyzing data to determine the impact we're making, and I will be the first person to tell you and my teachers that if it's not working, stop now and do something different. We don't wait until the next year. When we get our EVOS data and we are looking at our students' projected outcomes and looking at where our teachers are and the impact that they've made with their value-added assessment system, we're making decisions and changes in the moment because we know that we cannot wait. There's way too much at stake here, and there is no time to delay. So this year, we have a very strong focus on making sure that our MLL, our multilingual learner teachers, and our exceptional children's teachers are at the table in all PLC meetings. We are co-teaching, we are doing small group instruction that's based on assessment data in real time, and also our assessment data on iReady and benchmark assessments, and just making sure that every student is assigned to a teacher based on the impact that those teachers have been able to make with our students. And so I say all of that to let you know that we have increased our school performance grade from an F to a D 2 years ago. And our increase has gone from 37 performance to a 44, so we're 10 points away from a C, and I cannot be more excited about that. We have increased our performance in reading and math from a performance of 35 to 43, which is a D from an F, and math from 38 to 51, which is a D from an F. Our economically disadvantaged students are right there at 45, and we have exceeded growth back-to-back years. We have increased our language arts proficiency in our school from 20.2 to 26.6, our math from 25.6 to 33.5, our overall school composite from 25.4 to 30.3, so getting into the 30s was huge for us. And our grade level proficiency has increased in reading and in math for every grade level this year. We've quadrupled the number of students who have exited multilingual learner services through the Access Assessment and had a 7.5% increase in our students meeting the English learner proficiency goal standards as measured by WIDA. So definitely excited about the work that's been done, excited about the work that we will continue to do at Eastway, and I encourage all of you to follow us. The way is the way we're doing things, and we're doing it based on our strategic plan of CMS. So I want to thank our superintendent, Dr. Hill, and of course, Dr. Balknight, Ms. Thompson, Dr. Medlock, and Jennifer Willoughby, formerly Dean, my school performance area superintendent, who has been instrumental in supporting me over the past year. I can't say enough wonderful things about the leadership structure and the way that our support has been given to schools. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Tanya Branham. I am the proud principal of Philippa Berry Academy of Technology, where I've just opened in my 4th year. We are so excited and want to thank you so much for just having the opportunity to have us here, Dr. Hill and Dr. Bachknight and Ms. Thompson. So Philippa Berry is such a wonderful place for us. Our students, we have such a high culture of expectations. Our students, we have high accountability for our students, and we have a school-wide sense of excellence. And what does that look like? Having a sense of excellence as well as that accountability for our students, we want them to be prepared. We want them to be ready. So we look at, one, building a sense of community. So building a sense of community starts with our students. We want our students to be centered, focused. We want our students to feel seen, heard, and supported by our teachers. And in doing so, this opens up their comfort level in the classroom. We, last year, actually implemented Capturing Kids' Hearts. And with Capturing Kids' Hearts, we utilized the strategies that took place to build those relationships with our students. We were intentional, and I use the word intentional, and focused in all that we do. And so we were intentional in how our teachers started the classroom with that greeting of our students, ensuring that students had the opportunity to collaborate with each other, as well as the affirmations that took place. Having students affirm each other, having the teachers affirm our students. That is something positive that they needed to hear, and that they needed to see that as adults, we were doing that with one another, and that we expected that with our students. We also focused on our data systems. And so with our data systems in place, we had tight structures. So the moment that our students walked into the classroom, our teachers knew where our students needed to go, how they needed to get there, and then the projection and how we were going to move our students. So like, what were those action steps? So within our professional learning community, we looked at skills that students had mastered, gaps that our students had. But our conversations around data did not just stay with the adults in the professional learning community. Those conversations we had with our students. And so within the classrooms, that the data that are the conversations that our teachers had with our students knew where they were when they entered into the classroom, and where they needed to grow and how they needed to grow. Now, I'll be honest, for some of our students, it was quite daunting because we had students who had never been proficient before, and so looking at the growth that they needed to make, it could be a little scary for our students. And so I go back to where we had to build strong relationships with our students.
the trust factor was so important. And so no matter how far or how wide that growth was that our students needed to get to, we wanted our students to feel like they were supported. Again, being intentional, our teachers also looked at data. And so with the data, they identified any gaps. They also looked at any strengths that they had, so that we weren't only focusing on the students that where there were gaps, but what, again, were some of the positive outcomes from our students. And so in doing that, our support specialist, our master classroom teacher, he was able to specifically help provide some with targeted interventions, as well as some of our other support staffs along the way. We always focus on at least having 1 year's growth, more than 1 year's growth, because knowing if our students were able to exceed that growth, that we would be able to achieve all of the other components of where we are. So I contribute our success, one, by focusing on our relationships as well as our data. That really tied into our graduation rate of a 97.7%, because we needed to know at all times where our students were. We couldn't wait until they were seniors. We had to focus. We had to go back to looking at even students from 9th and 10th grade. What happened? What do we need to do? And it was a whole team effort in getting everyone involved. And so I also want to mention that we were fortunate enough to have some wraparound services with our graduation, with our support with our graduation rate. That's used with the use of our community and schools, our Road to Hire, and then our Next Step Ready advisor, formerly known as our college advisor. And so as we look at our momentum moving forward, we're going to continue to be intentional. We want to be focused, and we're going to continue to hold those high expectations for our students and the high expectations for our staff. And I must have to say that I have such an amazing administration team, and that none of this work can be done alone. It takes a team effort. So my administration team, the teachers, the counselors, all of the support staff, my students and my parents, I do have to thank them, and just for trusting in the process. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. I've had this data for about 3 weeks, and I still walk around just randomly screaming because I'm so excited about it. Well, here you have it. One thing that I want you to take away from today is that things don't just happen, people make them happen. And I'm so incredibly blessed to be able to work with such an amazing team. This work is incredibly hard. It is not easy. But again, this is a team that is focused on doing what is right, not what is easy. Each one of these principles and all of our principles exemplify belief. If you heard them talk, every one of them talked about belief, the belief in their students, the belief in their teachers and their staff, and their belief in their families and their community. They believe that every single student can and will be successful. We couldn't have done all of this work without our community partners. We have such an amazing community that always leans in and is so supportive. I do want to recognize 2 elected officials that were here and had to leave. Ms. Byers-Bailey, who is one of our longest standing board members, and also Dante Anderson, who is our mayor pro tem. We are going to go ahead and jump right into questions, because I know that you've heard a lot, and I don't know if I can say anything else other than wow, but at this time I'll turn it over to Susan Vernon Devlin, who will facilitate questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. Do any members of our media have questions? Rebecca.
Oh, thank you. I thought I was going to have to shout. Okay. Hi, I'm Rebecca Noel. I'm with the Charlotte Observer. I have a question for our principals. I was wondering, in y'all's opinion, what were the biggest sort of challenges and obstacles when it comes to improving student performance, and how did you approach tackling those things specifically?
Which one of you would like to?
I would say it was student belief, having them believe in themselves that they can truly do the work. And so again, I go back to where it was so important to build relationships with our students, so that they knew that we were a support system, that we weren't against them, and pulling in our parents as well. So again, the biggest challenge was just really getting the students to believe in themselves. And once they do that, it's endless in what they can do.
I'll say for us at University Park Creative Arts, really understanding what we're putting in front of our children, the instructional piece, having teachers provide them with the professional development, digging really deep into the curriculum. What is it that they need to learn and how do you deliver it? So the delivery for us was the disconnect. And once the delivery was on point, we started seeing children growing because we were able to teach them in a way that they could understand.
Thank you. James?
Hi. I was wondering, when you guys are looking at the district-wide reading scores, if you could touch on how much you think that shows impact from the state's investment in letters training and the science of reading versus how much of that impact maybe is still yet to come, since I know this is the first year that all teachers across the state receive that training.
We definitely think that the letters training has had significant impact, and as we continue to train new teachers that come in, to have that core expectation experience for all of our teachers and how they start with the literacy work has been very impactful. And as the state is there renorming the reading assessments, we know that they're also doing a more intense focus moving forward with integrating the science of reading into the work. And so that's important, and we anticipate that that will continue to support our students and our local provision resources as well.
Dedrick?
I know you had talked about improvement cycles and how you use that. Wanted to know how effective was that, and at any time did you have to adjust and pivot?
So we will do a more intense approach for the 25-26 school year, but we certainly started improvement cycles and have been doing them for a while. And I think many of the principals shared that that's the thing that we do as educators. We observe and we make decisions and shift and adjust. We can't wait. We don't have the time to wait. So we adjust in real time to meet the needs of our kids.
It was something that I mentioned when I talked about my school, like that we do periodic meetings where we come together and look at where the hot spots might be, where growth isn't occurring at the rate we would like to see it and that we know kids are capable of, and redeploying our human resources, or possibly in our case we had to tweak our middle school schedule to change the block time to allow for more small group instruction. So yes, it's a part of an ongoing process that we have that built in to be doing that throughout the school year.
Okay. Rebecca?
Thank you. Something that Principal French said earlier kind of got at one of my questions that I had, and he said the number one way to keep teachers in schools is to value their work. So this is sort of open-ended. When you look at the successes of this year, what plans do you have to make sure that teachers, particularly veteran and experienced teachers, feel appreciated and respected for their part in this work and ultimately decide to stay with CMS?
Principal French?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I try to say that to every single part of my community and really believe that in my heart. It was so hard not to be there with them today, to be able to celebrate it with them. And that's one of the best things about this day, is usually being able to get there in front of them and tell them what we have accomplished as a group. I work with so many amazing educators who pour their heart into this work, who are there before I get there some mornings and there when we close the building at night. And making sure they feel that value is so important. In our community, one thing that's been really nice is every year that we've exceeded growth, we've been able to take our whole staff out to dinner. We went to Margot's in downtown Pineville last year, and we're able to have dinner together, talk about the hard times and talk about the good times too, and just where we were able to get in a year. We also try to make sure that we value their professional development. Every single teacher is in this because they care about kids and they love what they're doing, and we got to continue to make sure that they're getting what they need in that work. So whether that's professional development in the schoolhouse or professional development in the district, or being able to take them and do something additional, that continual professional development and coaching is a big part of that as well. But the continual celebration is so important in this time.
Miles, do you have anything? Dedrick?
Yeah, good job, but just wanted to know, talk about those schools that are still D and F. You still have some schools. It's not easy work. So just want to know what's the plan so that more schools next year will be able to join that list.
Thank you for that question. So as I talked about, a lot of our strategies that we put in place for the 25-26 school year also include some things that we're amplifying for those schools that still have those letter grades to make sure that they get the additional supports. We also have evaluated our new service delivery model. We've made adjustments to it, and we believe that we'll be able to accelerate growth even faster, including our DNF schools. But we're meeting with those individual principals to also make sure that at the district level, they're getting the same specific things that they need to continue to accelerate and remove those letters from their school report card. And as Chief Thompson said earlier, we also know that we can't focus on one group of schools and not pay attention to the other. So we have a layered approach, and they certainly have the highest layer of support from us at the district level.
Thank you, Dr. Balknight. I just want to add to that. So I said this 2 years ago, I said it last year, and I'll say it again. We do not have failing schools. They do not exist. We do not have failing principals. We do not have failing teachers. We do not have failing communities. We do not have failing students. What that school performance grade indicates to us is that we need to provide more intensive support so they can grow at an accelerated rate. And so to add to what you said, I just want us to be really careful in our language because Rebecca just asked the question about uplifting educators. And so the worst thing that we can do is bounce people on the head and say, you're failing. They are not. That's what Principal French just said. Our job is to support those teachers and to support those principals, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So all of the work that we did last year, as Dr. Balknight just said, we are more focused, more intensive to make sure that the schools, the students, the teachers, the principals, the community get all of the supports that they need, because next year, the number of schools, I've already told the team, 0 schools that have a school performance grade level of an F, and quite frankly, it's going to be really hard to have any schools that have a low performing designation. Like, it's easy as ABC, 1, 2, 3.
Do any other members of the media have any questions? Questions? Going once? Going twice? Well, I thank you all for coming this afternoon. We truly appreciate you being here to share this celebration with us. If you do have additional questions or have any other